The Rock Church in Castle Rock is suing the town to continue a temporary homeless shelter program for 2 RVs parked on the church lot. The town of Castle Rock ordered the shelters to be closed, saying the only shelter the church can provide on its property is a parsonage. Now, the church's lawsuit claims that's a violation of federal prohibitions on any land use regulations that significantly interfere with religious beliefs, namely that God is calling the church to house the homeless. Joining us this morning to break down this lawsuit is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. Thanks so much for coming in.
Sure, it's an interesting case for sure.
Boy, is it ever. This goes all the way back to 2019.
Yeah.
So it was actually the church that filed the lawsuit. To tell us about the lawsuit and what both sides are arguing here.
Yeah, so the church filed the lawsuit. So what happened was the church had these 2 RVs on their property, and they were housing homeless folks, and the city of Castle Rock actually agreed to do that in 2018, and then last year they actually cited them for a zoning violation, saying this wasn't zoned for residential use, and there's no RVs in all of Castle Rock for people to actually live in. And so the Rock Church filed its lawsuit claiming a First Amendment religious protection, and there was a federal statute that was passed, a bipartisan law in 2000 that, as you said in the lead-in, that doesn't allow or prohibits cities from restricting the use that churches may use their own property for if it's a exercise of their religion. And so here the church is saying, hey, this is a sincerely held belief. This is a part of our religion to practice and help the homeless.
So the church is claiming constitutional protections. Does the Constitution protect in this case?
Yeah, I think it probably does. Now, there was, that's what we're going to find out in the lawsuit, because this is part of their free exercise. Is this part of their sincerely held beliefs? Now, the city is saying, well, we have this zoning, and so there's going to be a question. Does the city's zoning laws override this First Amendment protection and this federal statute? So we're going to find out, although there was a hearing on the 19th, to a preliminary injunction hearing.
So talk a little bit about the temporary ruling recently in favor of the church. What did the judge say here? Yeah,
that was on the 19th, and the judge ruled in favor of the church, saying that because these lawsuits take a long time, it may be a year before they get to trial, and so the judge said, in the meantime, the church can continue to house these folks as long as it's just these 2 properties. And he said there's no safety issues. The church is taking safety precautions, and so this was a preliminary injunction, and I think the judge got it right, because you have to look at Castle Rock. There's no homeless shelters there. Their response was, well, the church could house people, the members could house them in their own homes, and they also said, well, we gave $1.1 million to a facility being built in Aurora, which is 30 miles away, and they said we'll provide transportation, and we have 5 beds reserved there. So I think, Douglas County, it's one of the richest counties in the nation. I think they really need to look in the mirror and see what they're doing here.
Have neighbors spoken out about this?
Well, so initially neighbors were fine with it, and there were quotes in the paper where they said, yeah, it was these 2 RVs, there were no issues, but it wasn't until the church said, we're thinking about putting affordable housing on its 54 acre, it has 54 acres that it owns. So they're thinking about doing that. That's when the neighbors started, raising issues. But there's been no safety issues, there's been no problems, and there were lots of citations or lots of reporting of people who were able to get on their feet because of this temporary housing.
Clearly, we have not heard the last of all of this. I'm sure you're going to be following it. Always appreciate you coming in, Whitney.
For sure. Good to be here.
Chris?